Hello, my name is Bryce Broadrick, and this is my television pitch for the Human Project. So, a little bit about me. I grew up in a tiny farmer's town of 300 people. So, moving to the city was a big contrast for me. There are lots of differences between my hometown and the city, but one that always stuck out to me is the way that we interact with each other. I used to wave to every single person I saw and strike up a conversation. But here, I pass by hundreds of people every day and I don't say a word. It makes sense. If we stopped to talk to every person we saw, we wouldn't get anything done. But then I noticed, even when I have time to talk to people, I actively try not to. Think of the train. We're all sitting there waiting to get somewhere with ample time to interact with one another. But no one does. It's actually weird if you do. It's just a strange paradox of city living where we all choose to be in this giant center with people, but no one wants to talk to each other. Something I like to call the city barrier. And I'm super interested in this concept, and specifically what a city would look like without it, and how would someone break that barrier. The best answer I came up with is music, because in the right context, music can break down any barrier. And that's actually what my story is about. The Human Project is about two music obsessed youths that go into the city as an anonymous music group to spread vibes and bring everyone together. It's going to be an hour-long drama with comedic elements. So think of Atlanta with electronic music. And it, as such, is going to be best suited on a premium cable network or streaming service. Now, our story takes place in this amalgamation of Asian and American cities. So Hong Kong, Tokyo, Chicago, New York, all rolled into one, but the most industrial parts from those places. So it's all big, giant skyscrapers everywhere in the city, and it's big, gray, and extremely populated. And it's populated with basically your typical city dweller cranked up to 10. So everyone's got to be somewhere, no one wants to talk, and no one wants to interact with each other. It makes it really hard to forge emotion in this world, and that's basically what our characters are setting out to do. Our first character is Terrence Yu. He is from a very traditionally Chinese family. And in this family, they put success above all else, specifically in the workplace. So he has always been playing it safe in all of his decisions. He puts his business decisions and everything school related above his own desires. It's just the way he's been raised, and it's inherent to him now. So he's the type of person that plans to be famous but can't take any finite steps to get there just because he's so scared of playing it not safe. And he's had the same relationship with music. He's always had this desire to play music, but in high school, he joined the band instead of making a band. It's funny because he actually has an old drum kit in his closet that he swears he's gonna play, but he never does. And that's just a reflection of his inner self. Then we have his roommate, which is Jonathan Reyes. Jonathan Reyes, on the outside, is your stereotypical stoner guy. He has big thoughts and he wants to act on them, but he never does because he's so lazy. He's so lazy that his parents are paying for him to go to college, but he's just taking the money and doing one online class and spending it on drugs and vibing out to music because that's what he loves to do. He has all of these ways that he wants to shake up the world, but he never does because of the work involved. And he actually has the same relationship with music as well, where he chose the synth board because it is the lazy man's instrument. But what's weird is he generally has a passion for this, and he does the work to make beats, which is a really hard process, but he doesn't even acknowledge it. He just does what he loves. And so when he is passionate about something, he can really put a lot of work into it, but he can never know he's doing so. Then our third roommate is Jessie Chen. Now, Jessie Chen is an extremely intense person. She's the type of person that has planned out her life since kindergarten and is sticking to that plan. And she actually gets mad when people don't do the same. She just apparently has a passion for everything she does in life. She went to a prestigious college, is in business, is doing great. And she seemingly loves it all, but really deep down she has no passion, and it scares her. that scared comes out as anger. So when people don't have her same aspirations, she gets very angry and intense. And it's interesting because when she sees the guys doing this music group, she finds something that she could actually really be into, and she might actually have a passion for, something she's never experienced. So she initially comes off very angry at it, but deep down, she just wants to be a part of it. So, our pilot story for these characters is that Terrence has just got a new job at a business agency, and he's basically a temp. He gets a call from his parents, and they set out a plan for the rest of the year, and he's supposed to be going from a temp to ruling the place, basically. So, of course, this freaks him right out, and he goes to work, and he freaks out all of his employers, and he gets fired. Well, of course, this turns him up to even more nervousness. And him and John have to go out and do job interviews to get a new job before his parents find out. Well, he's such a nervous wreck, he tanks all the interviews, even the one that Jesse sets up at her firm that her father owns. He still tanks it because he's so weird. So they all go back on the subway in defeat, and they see these homeless people playing music. And Terrence they sit down and they just talk to these people and hear their music for a while, and Terrence finally unwinds. He feels okay for a little bit. So Terrence and Jonathan finally get back to the apartment, and they're just on a music high. They break out, Terrence finally breaks out his drum kit, and Jonathan dusts off the synth board, and they play and they jam up until Terrence's parents call him. They found out about the job, and they're very disappointed in him. He bounces around the idea of maybe going to music for his next career path, and they basically tell him flat out they'll disown him. That's not something that he should be doing. So instead of getting even more upset, Terrence just smokes some weed with John, and in a drug-induced state, they decide they should bring music to the world and get everyone to chill so that, everyone can do what they want and everyone can just open up to each other. Well, in this drug-induced state, they decide to do this, and they build a contraption out of the drum kit and the synth board, and they put it on wheels, and they said they're going to go out in the city, and anonymously, of course, and they throw on ski masks, and they're going to do it. Jesse, of course, thinks they're crazy. Well, they get on the subway, and as soon as they get this kit, this monstrosity, onto the subway, it breaks down. So when they get off at where they were going to go, they have to play in the train station. Well, they end up getting the cops called on them, which freaks Terrence right out. So much that he snaps out of this, and he calls Jesse and is like, you gotta help us. So she gets there, and they drag this kit back into the train before the cops get there. Well, in this train, there's a humongous delay, and everyone's trapped in here. Well, Jonathan starts fooling around on the synth, Terrence comes in with the drum beat, and Jesse actually sings to the beat. And it's beautiful. And everyone in that train car just kind of vibes for a little bit, and they start singing along. And in that instant, the city barrier breaks down, and what they made, this anonymous music group called the Human Project, gets to what they wanted. It gets to the people, and everyone is just with each other, and it's amazing. And actually, at the end of the episode, someone takes a video of this performance and they post it online. And it has a modest following that starts out the rest of the series. This video sparks a reaction in all of our characters, which carries the rest of the series along. So Terrence gets freaked right out, knowing this is something he could actually do. And he immediately wants to back out. And he actually gets dragged back in by Jonathan and Jesse. But he has to keep it from his parents actively, which is a big conflict in his life. And when they actually do find out, he has to figure out if he wants to go towards his desires or disappoint his family and not play safe for once. Then Jonathan has a really weird relationship with the music group. He treats it kind of like his drug addiction, where he has to have it. He really wants to be there. But everything's telling him to stop. The work involved, Terrence, everyone's telling him to stop. So he is at every performance because it's something he loves to do and wants to do, But when he's not at the performance, he's absentee. He's basically not there. And that creates a lot of issues within the group where they're like, where are you at? What are you doing? And John just doesn't want to answer. Then Jessie becomes a huge advocate for the group. She wants to play as much music as they can because this is something she's finally passionate about. But the issue is she's got to put her Jessie twist on it, and she wants to come out and reveal their identities and assume the fame that they've been growing. And that's a huge problem for Jonathan and Terrence because this is not what the music group has been about. The Human Project has been about bringing music to people anonymously. So they have to fight with her on every front for that. It makes a lot of problems. And in our series arc at the end of season 1, it actually comes out and Terrence's identity gets revealed because of Jessie, and he quits the group. And Jonathan and Jessie have to band together to bring him back. So this is just a series that is very low scale and with the characters the whole time. And it's their struggle to bring this thing to what they want it to be. And that's the Human Project.